the more a person learns Torah, the more his mind opens, the more her mind opens to understand the significance of everything that's in the world. When you're ignorant of Torah, your neshama is restricted. It's like, for example, if you're limiting. Let's say, for example, if somebody's chas v'shalom, their pipes for breathing are small, they're going to work a lot harder to try to maintain life. So when someone restricts their neshama by not giving it Torah, not giving it mitzvot, it's not going to allow any time to be used, or any resources or energy to be used to delve into the depth of the mitzvot, of the good things in life, because it's just going to try to survive pretty much, just to get whatever it can. So the more Torah a person learns, the more their neshama opens, the more their in essence their mind opens to understand the depth of certain things. The more their neshama softens also. That's one. Second thing is, there is a teaching by one of the recent Chachamim, I think it was Rav Shmuel Levitz, who said that when you make a blessing, you should break it up into 3. So instead of swallowing the words and many times forgetting if you blessed or not, like saying Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam She'akol Niyeh Midvaro, or Mezonot, and so on, break it up into 3. Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam She'akol Niyeh Midvaro, Borei Minei Mezonot, whatever it is. Like, break it up like I just did. Wasn't just an example to tell you what the blessing was. You should actually break it up into 3. Why? Because that gives you, number one, enough time to think about the words that you're saying. Number two, think about what you're actually going to benefit from. Why are you even blessing Hashem? Why are you even blessing Hashem? Think about the things that you're getting on a day-to-day basis. Like, enjoy the moment. Don't just think about, I'm hungry, so I want to eat and make sure that this goes into my stomach as soon as possible. Like, you have to contain yourself. Number 3, a person that does not know how to control their desires is not a person, it's an animal. So we have to learn how to control our desires by slowing ourselves down. One of the most important teachings that you have to tell kids once they're at a stage of being able to teach them is how to wait. How to wait for certain things. Why? Because if they don't have patience, they're simply going to be animals. If you give them everything they want, whenever they want, all the time, they're just simply going to be animals. Now, you can't teach this really to a 6-month-old or a 1-year-old right away. It takes a little time. But the point being is that you have to teach them how to wait. Why? Because, again, they need to learn patience. They need to learn that not everything is on demand. This generation, unfortunately, wasn't taught that. It's like everybody skipped the generation. Everybody wants everything on demand. So you have to unteach yourself that. And just slow down. And when you get something, when your wife brings you food, when your husband brings you a present, when your husband brings you a food, and your husband gives you whatever it is, whatever that order is, like before, like you just jump and like eat everything and wear everything and do everything, like just relax and say, oh, like observe it, and like if it's clothes or something, a present, don't just like put it on right away and like, oh, like reserve it for Shabbat. Like, reserve it for like a special time to do it, a special time to use it. If it's food, like, look at how many different ingredients she used to cook, or he used to cook this, and like, think about, how many amazing things had to happen for this dish to happen, how hard she worked, how many other people that you don't even know worked, and just try to enjoy the creation for a moment. I'm not saying delve into it for 40 minutes until the food's cold, but don't be like such a beast. Like, chill out a little bit. Take it easy a little bit. Relax. And control yourself. It's very important to control yourself. Also, it's important to have a little bit of time, of quiet time, where, you think about your day. Think about the things that you've gone through, or the day, or the week. And you, in essence, count your blessings. I know this kind of sounds like it's from the church, but it really is. It's something that a person needs to count how many amazing things happened to him or her during that day, and thank Hashem for it. Again, Thank your wife for it. Again, like sometimes, it's if you really do this right, you'll realize that you love people in your life a lot more than you do. Because many times when, people get used to their wife or used to their husband, they just take things for granted. Oh, he takes you to work every day, and he picks you up, and she picks you up, she takes you to the dentist, and people do different things, and they're just used to things. So they forget that, this is like, you're like working together. And what ends up happening is that you don't appreciate each other, and people start growing apart as a result of not feeling appreciative, and the relationship suffers. Now, if you start thinking about some of the things that your wife does for you or your husband does for you, just that day, you don't have to think about everything they ever did for you in their whole life. Just particularly that day, you'll realize, wow, that must have been hard for her because she was under pressure, or she didn't feel good, or he was under pressure, or he didn't feel, or whatever it is. You start thinking, and guess what you should do then? Go and say, by the way, thanks. Oh, you said thanks. No, but really, thanks. Really, thank you. I love it. Be a little bit more appreciative of certain things. But how could you be more appreciative? You have to think about them. How can you think about them? Stop thinking about yourself all day. When all you think about is fulfilling your own desires all day, you are literally one level removed from an animal. That's what happens with most people. All day, they think about fulfilling their desires. I'm hungry. I'm aroused. I'm this. I'm that. And become They just want to eat. Desires. All day. Enough. You stop thinking about yourself so much. You have to think about the world around you. And the person that thinks about themselves all the time is simply going to be an animal, unappreciative animal. So you have to think about all the things that people do for you. Like I said, you don't have to think about the food long enough until it becomes cold. You don't have to think about every single thing that your wife ever did for you from the time she was born. You don't have to think about every single nice word that your kids ever told you. You don't have to think about every single chidush that your rabbi ever said. No, you don't think about every single thing. But just, what happened today? What happened this week? Think about that stuff. Think about some of it, especially when things are tough. When you want to, you're mad at somebody, you want to not be mad about them, think about all the good things they did for you. You should think about the good things they did for you, all of a sudden you forgot why you're mad. 1 minute she was the most annoying person on planet Earth. You couldn't wait to run away. But then you calculated how many million things she did for you to help you in your life, and you're like, I can't believe how amazing she is. Why is she even with me? And then you realize, wait a minute, I was mad at her? You end up apologizing. Why? Because you realize that this person's amazing. Same thing vice versa. You're mad at your kids. You're upset at your kids. Your kids are annoying. Your kids are driving you crazy. Your kids are spoiled, and so on and so forth. But then you realize, wow, every time they fall asleep and I look at them, I think, oh man, I should have done this. I could have done this. I could have done 1.5 million different things that you want to do, you could have done, but they're already asleep. Well, guess what? You could do it this time while they're awake. By thinking about, how cute they are when they're sleeping. But that's the thing. It's like you have to think. And it's hard to think, because there's so many moving parts. You have your phone, you have your computer, you have some other noise over here and some other noise over here, and there's always noise everywhere. So you got to have some time for yourself. It's not easy to get, but nonetheless, you have some time that you think. You think about your day, and if you can't do it every day, at least do it every few days or every week. You have to do it. Because if you don't do it, you're going to ultimately become very, very bitter and miserable in life. Many people in the Hasidic world like to do itbodedut, where they didn't invent it. I mean, this is already mentioned in the Gemara already 2,000 years ago, but nonetheless, it's become much more popular in recent days among even the average folk that just sit there and talk to God for an hour in their own language. And this is a very good idea. Very good idea. I don't know how many people have necessarily such a lenient schedule where they can just give themselves an hour whenever they want, but nonetheless, everybody has some type of time. So you can talk to God in your own language. Aside from the prayer, this doesn't replace Shachrit, Mincha, and Arvit. Aside from your study time, aside from everything else, it's just a time that you just talk to Hashem and thank Him more than you ask Him for stuff. Like you're allowed to ask. It's okay to ask, but also thank. The same applies with your wife, with your husband, with your kids. Like, find a way to express gratitude to the people that are around you. Because one of the people that qualifies as a person that Hashem hates is an ungrateful person. Like, there's a few people that the Gemara says that Hashem hates them. One of those people is an ungrateful person. So if a person is ungrateful to his friend, surely he'll be ungrateful to Hashem. That's what the Gemara says. So needless to say, if he's ungrateful to Hashem, he'll be ungrateful to his friend. So a person needs to spend some time to think about all of the gifts that the world around them gave him, whether it be a divine miracle that he had 15 years ago, or a gift of food today, or a wonderful spouse or child, or whatever. There's so many things that you get every day that if you don't know how to say thank you 1,000,000 times a day, there's something wrong with you. There's something clearly wrong with you. You're clearly an ungrateful person. If you all day complain and don't know how to say thank you, you have a very, very critical condition of ungratefulness. Very critical condition. If all day you can find things that are wrong, but nothing, like you're just not happy about certain things, you don't know how to say thank you 1,000,000 times a day. Like literally 1,000,000 times a day. If you think about it, you'll have 1,000,000 reasons to say thank you every day. Like if you don't know how to say thank you, you don't know what you should be thankful for, you have a very critical condition. You should seek help. Like refuah shlema, we should pray for you. Pray for you. We should add you to the list, refuah shlema, to such and such, bayan, such and such, who misken, Hashem yishmo v'yatzil, will help him, Hashem yishmo, what? He's worse than everybody else. This guy's got cancer, this guy's got this guy's got that, but this guy, he's worse than them all. Why? Ungrateful. Ooh, misken. Everybody starts crying on the street, starts ripping their clothes, sacks. If you really know what it is, if you really understood how many things you have to be grateful for every single day, like if you understood what you have, you'd have literally, you'll be embarrassed to complain. But it takes time. It takes a little bit of waking up.
B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Be'ezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the Shiurim that we do, myself, Rabbi Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Kiruv and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chava Tzlacha.